Hello once again. You have checked into the Appleton REIA podcast. My name is Dan Alborn. Alongside for the ride, once again, Jacci Conkle.
Hello. How you doing today?
I am good. How is you?
Oh, excellent. We're getting through the winter.
Winter in Wisconsin can be long. That's where we're from, if you didn't know that already. But, yeah, it is what it is. You just never know what you're going to get here. Although it's sunshiny today, You think it's beautiful. You step outside, and then the wind smacks you in the face and makes you realize it's February here in Wisconsin. But today, we're going to have some fun. Actually, one of the things, Jacci, that I think at the club that we have that I think always bodes well is whenever we do from time to time case studies where we'll have other investors come in front of the room and share their deals and kind of the breakdown of like, how do they get it? What do they do it? The good, bad, and the ugly, sometimes we call it, right? So today we thought it'd be beneficial because in the last few years, you and Brent kind of took on a new endeavor that you really had never done before. And we wanted to share that case study on the podcast today, and that's talking about executive/vacation rentals.
Yeah. And, it's funny, too, because it's so hot right now. Everybody's talking about how can I get into Airbnb. I mean, people are looking at renting out rooms in their homes. And then you've got other people, looking at buying investment property and doing, the VRBO and the Airbnb. And, of course, there's a lot of legislation in different states and cities.
It's become so hot. I mean, people used to be able to just do it. It was like a side hustle. But now people are getting, specifically in the high demand areas, like big vacation areas like Orlando, big cities, they're now clamping down on that and treating these people more like a hotel versus just, hey, I'm renting out my room to someone.
Right. It's on the radar.
Right. Yeah.
And I think the squeaky wheel was the hotels saying, listen, you're taking, and they are, right? You're taking money out of my pocket. Yeah. You think about it in a hotel, you got to listen to the people above and beside and below you, kids running up and down the hall. Right. Maybe they put you next to the elevator or the ice machine. Right. And if you can get an entire home for the same price-ish, right? And have a garage and have a, maybe you're on a beach.
Yeah, the privacy, right?
It's
you
different.
don't have to worry about other people. You can really check out, and it's...
Full kitchen.
It's like it's your own home, but it's kind of like a timeshare, but you don't have the commitment, right? It's just a one-time in and out.
Best of everything,
right? For sure.
But they definitely have hit the radar, and local municipalities are figuring out what to do with it. They have been figuring that out for the last couple of years.
Yes.
And taxes are higher, the way you report it, the way you contract with it. Anything less than a month is falling under these rules.
Correct.
So you got to look at all of it.
Yeah, so you and Brett were actually just looking at some opportunities, and this property that we're going to talk about today kind of just popped in your lap, and I think you guys just took some massive action on it.
It did.
Kind of, I don't know, was your plan all along to go vacation rental on this, or like a short-term executive-style rental on this?
Well, when we did look to buy it, that was the only way we were going to buy it is not doing it as a traditional, it's a duplex, it's a side-by-side.
And just to preface, to this point, you guys did not have any current rentals. You weren't landlords per se. You went down that path and almost swore saying, I'm not going to be a landlord anymore. So it's kind of odd that now you're looking at a duplex to buy. So continue.
Right? Yeah. It's super surprising for
weird.
Someone like me. Yeah. And being a longtime member of the apartment association in town and sitting on the board of directors and things like that, for years, probably at least 5 years before we bought this, I'd been telling all the landlords. I even did full presentations at the association telling people, like, if you have rentals or you're getting frustrated with tenants or you have vacancies or whatever, you should consider doing a short-term, furnished type of rental. And everybody was like, oh, and it made them nervous and buying all the furniture. And, now I have more money in and less money out. What does that look like? So I finally decided, okay, let's be the guinea pig. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So this property came up literally, tell me if I'm wrong. I know you got it popped up in your cart because you had a cart for MLS. Yeah. And you're like, you literally just went to go look at it and I guess tell the rest of the story. Yeah, immediately, like instantly.
We went so fast to look at it that the agent didn't, first of all he had was a picture of the front. He didn't have any, he didn't have a lockbox on it, so there's no way in. So the agent was like, well, I guess if, I'm like, can we see it in 20 minutes? He's like, if you can make it 30, I can get there with the lockbox. Right. Well, we left right away anyway. Sure. So we pull up, agent's not there, and the owner's outside fixing the gutters or downspout, whatever he was doing. And he let us go in and look at it. It's already open. Mm-hmm. We were done looking at the one side, the vacant side, before the agent even got there.
Nice, yeah.
So we were able to verbally pitch it to the homeowner right then and there with his agent standing by him, offered him full price because we knew we weren't going to rent it out for the $8 or $8.50 he was getting.
Right.
And so our numbers were going to work. Now, at the rent he was getting, that purchase doesn't make sense.
Sure. Oh, absolutely not.
We're not going to make any money.
No, not at all.
And that's kind of our market today, guys. If you're out there looking right now and you're listening to this podcast pretty much in real time, side-by-side duplexes are just going for gross amounts more than what they're worth for the most part, unless you're doing your marketing, finding your deals. For the most part, when you run the numbers, it doesn't make any sense. You're either breaking even, you got some negative cash flow, or the cash flow you have is so negligible, all you need is a furnace or a water heater to blow, and you're behind.
Right.
It doesn't make sense.
Right.
And so at that, we knew, and so we made the offer full price. If we buy it now and we close as fast as you can close, we'll close in a week. And he was like, really? And we're like, whatever work you're doing out here, you can just stop.
Right.
Like, we'll take care of it. And he was like, well, that sounds too good to be true. So I went to the truck and I had printed out all the contracts.
Yeah.
So I grabbed the contracts,
Right.
I filled them all out, and he signed them right there. And his agent, delivered them,
Right.
I guess.
Well, two
so
things I want to point out, Jackie.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is transferable from whether you're doing executive rentals, short-term rentals, or just purchasing properties in general. The two things that I think that I took away from this, and you should as well as a listener, is one, you took massive action. You took action right away. You didn't wait. You went right away, looked at the property. Second,
I knew it'd be gone.
you were prepared. You had the contracts in place. I mean, if you go to a property and you're like, I'll do it later, or you go to the property and you don't have the contract in hand, you're like, oh, well, I'll get you a contract later, you're going to lose those deals in today's marketplace. So you're being responsive and being ready and available, and more importantly, intentional in what you were going to do. I'm going to buy this property, and these are the things I need to have.
Yeah.
That's what led you getting this deal.
Well, case in point, the agent told me that before he could even mark it as being under contract on the MLS, he had 15 showings, showing requests,
Right.
and then we closed a week later, and the seller was actually angry because he felt like he should have got a lot more. So he was mad at his agent because we offered so fast and there was all those showing requests. He felt like he undersold it. And I'm thinking he really didn't, because with the rents that were there, what we paid for it, and it needed a new roof and everything else. But anyway, here's the point. For me, I've always said I love the cash flow of investment property, but I don't like tenants.
Right.
So my tenants are homeowners, and people look at me crooked when I say I only rent to homeowners. They're like, what do you mean? I rent to people who aren't tenant-minded.
Right.
They don't know more tenant law than me and a way to get around and get out.
Manipulate it, sure.
They own a home, or they have owned a home. They're in between homes. Like, we rented with this property to a family who lost their home to a fire. It was a brand new construction.
Sure.
They literally had just moved in recently, and on the 4th of July, the neighbor was playing with fireworks, burned their place down. So for 6 months, they lived with us while they rebuilt their home. They're homeowners. They took care of things. They did wonderful. When they left, it was perfectly clean. I mean, obviously, we still have the housekeeper come through, but that's different than a tenant. On the other side, we rented to the VP of a big corporation in town who was relocating, and his wife was still at the home down in Indiana, and she had finally sold the house. So they needed to be here for 1 month before they closed on their house here. So we had that 1 month gap.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I rent to them for a month. Meanwhile, she washes his pants with a screw in the pocket, right? Brand new washer, brand new flooring, everything.
Yeah.
Well, she thinks, oh, it's making noise. I'll just pull it out and take the back off and find it. And she pulls the washer out, and she's like, wait a minute, I'm not handy. I'm not going to do this. She calls me and says 2 things. Number 1, there's something in the washing machine. I'll pay for it, but you probably need to have a repairman come out and figure it out, get it out.
Sure.
Something was in his pocket. She said, and number 2, I'm stupid. She said, I pulled the washing machine rather than picking it up, and I damaged the floor. She said, just do what you got to do. Well, it turns out we had to replace all the flooring because of the way that it was.
Sure.
All the way out into the foyer. It cost $1,100. I had a check the next day. What tenant?
No.
Number 1 admits it, doesn't
they'll
try
never
to hide
tell
it.
you, and then you'll be way worse when you finally have to move out, years later or whatever,
And this was after they had left, and I sent her the invoice, and she paid it the next day. So that's what I mean by renting to owners.
Yeah, different mindset in the individual, right? They're homeowners versus tenants. Agreed.
Completely. And there is a gap in the marketplace, and there are hotels who are catering to this, and there's new ones popping up, like the Home to Suites out by our airport. But to have like literally a full kitchen, to have a garage, we have an attached garage here. And now what's happened is we've gotten a contract with that large corporation that actually had that VP staying there. So we have a contract that's an annual contract now.
Nice.
And so there are people stay anywhere from 3 to 9 months at a time.
Right.
But it's pretty fantastic when you think about it, and the numbers really break down, Dan.
Yeah, so talk to us about the numbers, because obviously someone's looking at this, well, I already have rentals now, why do I want, so maybe a few things. We can talk about the numbers, but also what are the differences of what you're doing versus a standard rental than maybe more this short-term executive? I mean, there's different names you can call it, Airbnb. Talk through those on both sides of the numbers and kind of what you did in addition to what you would with a standard rental.
Well, for me, I didn't want to deal with any of the extra contracting or taxes or any of that. So even if you're going to stay for a week, you're going to sign a lease for a month.
Right.
So I'm legit with 1 month.
Sure.
Whether you're there or you're not, you're going to pay for a month, you're going to sign for a month, and it's month to month.
Yeah.
So I don't have to deal with the short term on this specific one. Am I open to Airbnb? I am, and I'm thinking about those things, but I'm a baby step kind of person, and I kind of like what I'm doing here. So we're doing the minimum of 1 month stay. We pay for everything: snow removal, lawn care, gas, electric, water, Wi-Fi. We do not have cable, but we have smart TVs in the property and the Wi-Fi. So we figure most people have a Hulu or a Netflix or something like that.
For sure
to this
they do.
point, no one has cared.
Right.
We have an antenna that brings in like 37, 40 channels, local stuff and whatever. And that has been totally fine. For the most part, the people that come and stay, they're at work more than they are at the property anyway. They just haven't cared. They could get their Amazon Prime and watch a movie. I mean, there's so many opportunities now with smart TVs and an antenna that you just don't need that extra cost.
Sure.
So that hasn't bothered us. But we were charging $2,100 a month. We furnished everything. It's a 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath with the first floor laundry in the half bath. But we only furnished the main bedroom. And we furnished it very nicely. Super comfortable mattress, nice pillows, the whole works. Obviously, you have to put all your kitchen stuff in there, so that they could just come and live there, just like you would if you went on a vacation to an Airbnb. Everything's there. All they need is their suitcase full of clothes and go to the grocery store.
Right.
And then we have like really comfortable, living room set and stuff like that, dining room set. But we did not do anything with the second bedroom. And to this point, it hasn't hurt us. When we had the Fire family that lived there, they did have one child, and they needed to buy new furniture anyway. So they bought him a bedroom set and moved it in there, and then they moved it out. And we thought, maybe somebody wants it as an office. Somebody else might need a bunk bed. Somebody else might need a queen bed.
Right.
So we just kind of flex with it. We did have one tenant come stay with us that her family would come in every once in a while and stay. So they asked us if we could furnish the second bedroom. So we very lightly furnished it. We pretty much just put a bed in there and a nightstand, and bedding. But then when they got out, we moved it out. And we charged extra for it to be in there.
Absolutely. Yeah, agreed.
So very, very easy and minimal staging. We didn't do a lot even with staging with pictures and stuff like that. It's comfortable, but it's not overdone. And so when we got the annual lease from the big company, we decided to lower it to $2,000 a month, so they get $100 off, because we don't have any vacancy. They pay whether they have a client in town or they don't.
Right.
They pay us every month just so that no one else can rent it.
And
pretty cool.
And put this in perspective, because you might be listening halfway across the country, and obviously we're Wisconsin, rents are different. So if this was a standard 2-bedroom side-by-side duplex, what would that fetch for rents?
He was only getting $8 or $8.50, and I think he was under rented, to be honest.
Yeah, I would agree.
I mean, it's only a 2-bedroom, but it's right, the highway's in the backyard, which isn't completely
but it's a ranch.
Attractive. It is. It's a ranch duplex. But he probably could have been getting $950 or $1,000.
Yeah.
But to get the $2,000, and we don't have to worry about it being, and again, not that we don't have to worry about it being completely destroyed, but we really don't. I mean, we're renting to one person at a time. There's not even a family living there for the most part. Nobody has pets because they're in town for a short time. And if they did, big deal. We just charge extra. But there's very little wear and tear, and they're responsible people. Like I said, she's like, well, I did that, so let me pay you.
Yeah.
We're not spending money on evictions.
Right.
We're not, at this point, we don't even have any money in vacancies. I mean, their lease expired at the end of the year, and they were begging me for the next lease. Like, we want to sign up for another year. I'm like, okay, you're good.
So with these properties, obviously, I mean, the risk involved is you're putting a lot more up front, right? I mean, it's versus than just doing the standard cosmetic stuff. You're furnishing the whole house between, bedding, silverware, plates, stuff that sometimes you don't even think about that someone's going to need. I mean, just simple stuff like that.
Salt and pepper shakers.
Outside of groceries and maybe their personal clothes, everything else has to be there in this property. So you're forking out a large amount of money up front, knowing that on the back end you can get some just unbelievable cash flow because you're servicing a market that's very, very underserved, specifically in our area. And I would dare say probably in most markets this is similarly the case.
Well, and it's also a great tax deduction.
Right.
And all that personal property is tax deductible as well as we go along.
Point. Yeah.
Right. So, and it, eventually it'll wear out and whatever. But, the other risk is we're paying all the utilities and all the bills. So if you were vacant, it's going to cost you a little bit more. But it's been really great. We're cash flowing over $700 a month, even per door.
Yeah.
Okay. So even with all of those expenses, and we financed it.
Yeah.
So even with everything, we're still
that's great.
No money in it.
Yeah.
And because we financed everything out, and we're still cash flowing over.
And I think the key in this is obviously finding the right property, because not every property works, right?
Correct.
I mean, if it's a lower end home, you can't really necessarily turn that into an executive vacation rental. It has to be in a location that makes sense, right? Yeah. And then I think the other thing is just networking with people that know other individuals that could use these services, whether it be a property management company that can kind of link you up with a corporate client, or just talking to those businesses that could use housing like this, because if they don't know you're out there in the radar screen, you could sit, because that's the risk, is being vacant, right? You put all this money out, and now you don't have anyone in to actually fill your place. That's quite a bit of an expense versus just the standard rental too.
Well, and there's so many opportunities with people selling their homes and then building a new home, so you can network with builders and realtors, relocated people that are coming into the area and they need a gap of time where their job starts before they close the home. Networking with insurance professionals, with fires and floods and tornadoes and disasters.
Right. I guess you're right. I wasn't trying to be negative. What I was saying is that
there's opportunity.
There's opportunity out there. You just have to connect with those people, and you'll be surprised when you do.
You will.
That, wow, maybe I need to do more of these, or maybe there's more opportunities than I even really imagined. So that's the benefits. As there's risk and pitfalls, there really can be offset if you go in with the right strategy and plan on the front end and buy the property. Like anything, you buy the right property, right? You do the right thing with the right property, and that's how you can turn these into be very profitable.
And for me, my goal was to stay closer to like the highway and not as far into town, because then I could get some of those traveling execs. There's traveling nurses and stuff you can rent to. So I guess the main point is, if you were thinking that you're like me and you love the cash flow of properties, rentals and things like that, but you don't necessarily want to manage a property manager, or you don't want to deal with tenants and damage and all the other stuff, evictions that comes with that. One, you could screen better, or two, you could find a quality property manager that you don't have to spend so much time managing, which we do have in our area. But this is another way to go where you could get substantial cash flow without as much of the headaches. So.
Now, you guys finance this, but this is a strategy. As you put in your tool belt of things that you do in real estate, you can do this basically with controlling the property without even buying it, right? And still making this work.
Well, so that's the other opportunity, right? You could just go and control a property that allows you to sublet. You could furnish it, and then you could do the shorter term, leases outside of that.
Right.
And so at the Appleton REIA this month, on February 18th, we actually have an expert coming in who has not only done this, but trains on it and exactly how to do it, how to manage it, whether it's purchasing your own or sandwiching it, and just controlling the property and all the different opportunities. So he does the shorter term, like the Airbnb type situations, and the executive type situations like this.
Right.
So if you really want to learn how you could do this and take some of the steps, some of the questions out of the steps, Al Williamson's coming in from California, and he'll be abruptly introduced to our weather in February.
I was going to ask, can he usher in some Cali weather along with his presence, maybe?
Let's hope. But yeah, so if you're in our local area and you have the opportunity to come and hear from him on Tuesday,
I'm excited
18th.
too, because actually, now that you're talking about this, and this just even popped in my brain, I have an opportunity I'm working right now where this could actually fit. So I'm excited to hear Al come in, and I mean, if you haven't already, it's always important to pre-sign or to pre-register, I guess is probably the proper term. Go to AppletonREIA.com, and if it's your first time coming and you check this out and this really interests you, your first visit is free. You print out a guest pass. We'll take care of you at the door. You can come and enjoy, network with all the other investors in the area. And I think once you're there, you're going to see the value in this club because not only the speakers that we get, which are always top-notch, there's so many discounts and benefits of being a member. Just going to AppletonREIA.com, you can see all the national vendors from Home Depot, OfficeMax. We were just talking to someone recently who went there, and we get a better discount at OfficeMax by being a REIA Club member than even the employees do at OfficeMax for like printing and things like that. So it's
stupid cheap.
Stupid cheap. And we've done podcasts on our vendors and what they do, but you can find all the information there. But I think the biggest advantage is actually coming to the club, networking with local investors, doing deals in your backyard, because that alone, specifically if you're a new investor, teaming up with those people and networking with those individuals is what's going to drive you to be successful. I mean, you still have to do the deeds and still do the activities, but surrounding yourself by like-minded people, that's the secret sauce right there. That is so important. Don't ever forget that. So,
I just remembered too. He's also going to do a full workshop. So obviously you want to come out on February 18th and hear his information. But whether you make that or if you can't, especially look into Saturday, February 22nd. He's going to do a full workshop, and because you can only do so much in 90 minutes, right?
Yeah, that's for certain.
Maybe on the 18th you decide, hey, this is something I want to learn more about, and then on the 22nd, he's going to be able to do a full day workshop, deep dive, step by step. This is where you look. This is how you do it.
Wow, that's awesome. So I can definitely check it out. The 18th is the REIA meeting, so you can go on to AppletonREIA.com, sign up today, be there. Should be a packed house with this type of information. So thank you guys for checking in. We hope this has been helpful for you, just understanding the space of like Airbnb. And we only just scratched the surface. That's what Al's going to be here to do and share when he comes in on the 18th. So until we talk next time, have yourself a great day. You've been listening to the Appleton REIA podcast. See you later.
See you soon.